Now, it's the Open Mic Talk Show.
It's the Open Mic Talk Show, live on CRN.FM. And now, here's your starting line.
Hey, what's happening, family? You're just in time for another edition of the Open Mic Talk Show. I'm Carl L. King II, and I'm also saying what's happening to our sister from another mister, Kara Black. But right now in studio, I have my man, 50 Grand. He is one Darnell Swift.
Hey, what's happening? What's up? It's going down off the line.
Oh, yeah, man. Yes, sir.
Hey,
yes, sir.
Man, I was going to tell you, Carl. Now I know that you're approaching senior citizenship.
No, I'm there, brother.
But man,
I'm there.
No, but what I'm saying, man, is like sometimes it's time to give up the keys. Arizona police estimate that 30 people were injured after a 73-year-old man allegedly drove into a building of the local lodge he was trying to leave. Thomas Edward Kane, 73, was taken into custody after he drove into the Elks Lodge, man.
I mean, this is...
After he was trying to leave the party.
Well, he probably was on some of that sauce. You know, he's...
Well, he was taking that old rocking chair. He was on that rocking chair, man.
Well, I don't know what he was on, but I tell you what, man, that is definitely a problem. I have to... So when I come out of my neighborhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have to... I'm not exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating, not one bit. I've literally probably stopped about at least 10 wrecks from my neighbors running over the front of my car.
What is the deal with that?
I don't know. What is the screeching in the background? What is going on?
Oh, I don't know. That sounded like something
Okay.
in the background. But I'm sure that it isn't something that I don't know. It sounded like something from what's the name of that movie? The Hunger Games.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, we don't want no Hunger Games, man. No, we don't want it.
Well,
we don't want it.
You got 2 days left, buddy. You got 2 days left. What are you gonna do?
Well, before we jump off into the big debate, let's talk about
Here we go.
those illustrious, vaunted, the best team in the land, the Palace on the Prairie. It's yours, mine, it's everybody's Oklahoma Sooners.
That was bad.
Man, bruh. That was good and terrible. Good and terrible. They were, they didn't look crispy at all, man. You've been talking about OU and the team and our win-loss. We're gonna get mudholed this year a couple times, I believe, brother.
Well, they were predicted to win 7 games. Now, now, if they play like they did last night, they're gonna win 3, maybe.
Can we? I'm at this point, I'm actually just hoping to make it to a bowl game. That's all I'm hoping for, actually, at this point. Really, man. I mean, they don't seem to have what it takes. Now, defensively, it's obviously hard to gauge because the teams that they've been playing aren't very talented, offensively or defensively. So it's kind of hard to say. But I feel like the defense is quite a bit further along than the offense. What's your perspective on that, my good sir?
I would agree. Well, I would agree with that completely. I mean, that's usually the case in football, that the defense is usually a little bit ahead of the offense.
That's true. This is true. That's true.
But what we saw last night was ugly. You know what I mean? It was about ugly. I mean, it was, and that was hard to watch. I mean, you're looking at, it was just like, you can't get a yard. I mean,
Yeah.
You're calling plays. It was just, I don't know. The expectations are always high for OU football.
Sure.
As it should be. I mean, they are and have been for decades one of the premier programs in the country. They've stepped off into the SEC. Right now, it doesn't look like they're SEC ready. I could easily see them, dropping a 4-8. I mean, that's hard to believe, but I mean, if
me
you
too.
think about it,
Me too.
there
I
are
can.
6 teams
Sure.
right now on the schedule that are in the top, 20 that they're going to be underdogs against. And then they have to go on the road and play Auburn.
Oh man.
And it's just
Auburn. I believe Auburn got
beat.
beat. Didn't Auburn get beat yesterday?
Auburn got beat yesterday by Cal. Yeah, they got beat yesterday by Cal. But it could turn ugly real fast.
Well, Cal is going to always have some talent, man. I mean, Cal, because they're obviously, the state school of California, they're going to always just have some because of the sheer number of athletes that come out of California, man. I mean, Cal is going to have some good athletes, and from time to time, those Golden Bears will step up and pop you in the mouth. So,
Mr. King, look at it this way. If they lose to Tulane this coming Saturday,
that's
the only game on the schedule that they should be guaranteed to win would be against Maine. That would mean that they would pull off, if they lose all those other SEC games, they would pull off a 3-9. Now, I don't think they'll do that, but it's not impossible. And if they pull off a 3-9, it's time to look in another direction. I hate to say it. I
Really?
think Brent Venables is.
Really? Well, you know what? I'm wondering about those conversations as well, because now initially, we know it would take some time and the transition and the way that Lincoln Riley left and kind of, left the cupboard bare, if you will, and done some things that were very detrimental to the program and
Absolutely
detrimental for the program moving forward in a championship mindset. He done some things that were pretty shady to say the least. That's an understatement. That's an understatement. But having said
no question about it.
Having said that, I don't know if they'll fire this year.
No, they won't fire him. They wouldn't fire him, but it would mean next year would be the make or break year. I mean, you can't go 3-9 at Oklahoma and then expect to keep your job. I mean, realistically, should you? Could you go 3-9 and then next year not make the playoffs?
I know, man. That's pretty tough. It is. That's pretty tough, man. I mean, I hear you. I don't
think they will go 3-9. I think here's what I see from OU. I think OU is gonna lose some games that we expect them to lose. And I think they'll probably pull off a couple that we shouldn't expect them to. And that would give them a 6-6, 7-5 season. 6-6, they get to a bowl game, they go win a bowl game, they reassess everything. Obviously, there'll be some kids that'll walk in this day and age with the NIL and the portal. But, this could go ugly real quick, man. I mean, it really, really could.
It really could. Yeah, it really could, man. This is one of those years where you just have to just kind of watch the team and be a fan and really kind of lower your expectations, I guess, if you will, because it's, another thing, I think that OU will use the same quarterback for another game or two. If he does not start playing demonstrably better, I think he's going to be removed. The other young man, the backup quarterback, is pretty dynamic, and OU is not in a situation where we can just milk talent. This is the SEC. You got to put the best players on the field right now. I mean, that's just the way it is, man.
But do you really want to run it? Do you want to put him out there with that? I mean, let's be honest. That offensive line, it is horrible.
Okay, but
do you want to put a freshman out there and kill his confidence?
Well, obviously the one who's playing right now has no confidence whatsoever. He looks lost and didn't have a great command or great presence in the pocket. He looks pretty disheveled, to say the least. I don't know what the answer is, but what I'm thinking, Darnell, is at the very least, because supposedly Jackson Arnold has some wheels. I haven't seen that thus far. Now, we know Michael Hawkins has wheels. So with the breakdown of the offensive line, would he give them a better chance? We got to do something, because this dude is like a statue back there. He's not very mobile, very agile.
I don't think it's his mobility, to be honest. I think it's a total breakdown across the board.
The quickness of the breaking down of the line could obviously, right. The line is breaking down so quickly.
Right. The play calling, the offensive line.
We haven't even spoke about the play calling. I mean, that's
bad offense.
Pretty vanilla, man. Pretty vanilla. And they seem predictable. There was a time when OU, I remember, wasn't quite a decade or so, around that time, we were having some issues because we were just really, really predictable. And teams didn't have, any problem figuring us out. Not whatsoever. So the vanilla offense
and that dude is coming to town. And that dude is coming to town with an offensive juggernaut. He's got the number one quarterback recruit in the nation. And Tennessee, I mean, I don't see any way right now today. 2 weeks from now, they play Tennessee. I don't see any way that they pulled that off.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I mean,
I'm with you. And not to mention that the coach of the Tennessee Volunteers probably has a pretty salty taste and want to kick some butt. So I wouldn't be surprised if they get in a lead and try to run it up on us or something. I mean, I don't know. I
would run it up on OU. I would mud duck them.
Yeah, just for the disrespect, huh? Yeah, I hear you.
The disrespect. Well, and John, and let's just be honest. When Josh Heupel got let go, I wasn't happy about it at all. On that. Well, I was conflicted on it because I think it was a combination of things. I think the offense had gotten a little bit predictable, but I thought that. I'll just say it this way. I was conflicted about it. They brought in Lincoln, and the next year they're in the college football playoffs. So what do you say?
Well,
you know what I mean?
I think that much like John Blake, Josh Heupel was confined, restricted. Didn't have a lot of freedom. I believe.
All scripts would say that's not the case.
I believe that Josh Heupel was a co-offensive coordinator, was he not?
He was, and I can't remember who was also the co-offensive coordinator with him when he left.
Okay.
But when he did get fired, he was really the primary guy. I mean, Bob Stoops had this, code that on the coordinator stuff.
Right.
I think it was Josh Heupel and Jay Norvell maybe at the time.
Oh, that sounds about that. Yeah, that sounds about right. Sure.
The bottom line is this, in my opinion. OU sucks right now. They need to stop. They need to start unsucking.
Okay, that's a great way
to
look at it for sure. Yeah, they're terrible right now, man. They need to get better quick, fast, and in a hurry. Now, the big game for all the marbles, for all the money, it's going down. A national simulcast. All networks. ABC is the headliner. It'll be on Fox, NBC, CBS.
MSNBC?
I believe it will be, sir. All of the cable channels. Yes, sir. Absolutely. So, big ups to ABC, the American Broadcasting Network. The American Broadcasting Company.
Yes.
So they are allowing other networks to simulcast due to the importance of this matter. I really, as I've been thinking about this, I believe that obviously from an intelligence level, from a policy level, there's no comparing the two. The dude knows he can't win, Darnell. He's going to come in there and make it an absolute clown show. That's what he's going to do, I believe.
Well, I would say that you're disrespecting clowns when you say that he's going to make it a clown show, Carl.
Man.
I believe that Donald Trump is, without a doubt, undeniably Satan. I have thought about it. I've given it much deliberation. And the only logical, educated type of conclusion I can come to is that he is the devil. Now, just joking, of course, but I think you're absolutely 100% right. He doesn't have the intellectual capacity to stand there and really debate policy, debate issues. He's never done that. It's always been about the sleight of hand. He is a showman. Let's give him that. He's a showman. And he's going to try to muck it up. I think the only thing that I'm concerned about is, are we going to be too prepared? I mean, I think sometimes when you are dealing with a clown, a fool, a baboon, an ignoramus, an idiot, a doofus, and a dumpster fire, that you maybe have to treat it that way. In other words, when he responds, at some point he's going to say something that is completely incoherent and doesn't make sense, right?
Right.
And I think you need to say, you know what? I don't know what the hell he just said, but it makes no damn sense. Okay?
Right.
Let me tell you what we're gonna do. Let me tell you what we're focused on.
Okay.
I think she needs to show who she is, because we already know who Donald Trump is, and
Right.
she needs to present herself to the people who are undecided. And there, believe it or not, are still some, right? Because most people have already made up their mind. Everybody who's not voting for Trump, most of the people who weren't going to vote for him, have already made up their mind. Like you and I, there isn't anything Trump can do. Even if he gave me my 40 acres in that mule that you and I talked about.
No, I'll change my. No, I would. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a sellout, and no, I'm just kidding.
Of course you are.
I'm just kidding.
Of course you are.
No,
But
that's.
But you know what I'm saying? I mean,
No, really, yeah, I get you.
Who, you know, there's a small middle of people who are undecided. And I think those that are undecided are torn between two decisions, right?
Right.
Psychologically, I'm a Republican. I don't know if I can cross that line because I fundamentally just have some issues with liberals and progressives that I just can't cross that line. Whatever that line may be, it's a psychological line that I just can't cross, right?
Okay.
And then there's the other side that's like, I really don't know her. You know, my whole family, everything that I kind of believe leans more towards the conservative, the right. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Show me why I should cross that line, right?
Uh-huh.
And I think that's what she needs to do. You're not going to convince people anything about Donald Trump because most people know who he is, right? You're not going to convince them that he's a rapist, a fraud, dangerous, a wannabe autocrat. You're not going to convince them that he's not that, because most people can kind of, you know, when you look at a black car, you can't convince me that that car is beige. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But what you can convince me of, that maybe I look cool in the beige car. And I think that's her task, to let people actually make a decision that, hey, you know what? It won't be bad with her.
The fact that this thing is even this close is really sort of mind numbing. I don't. This is. I mean, man, I don't even know what to say, Darnell. So
I think it goes back to your analogy that you always talk about. You bring it up all the time. You talk about. I think you talk about you saw something on the news or a program, a documentary or something with the Iowa farmer. You know.
Sure.
And you talk about how everything that Trump stood for was against his livelihood, right?
Right.
But what did he do?
This is phenomenal, man. You have people. So, guys, if we're taking over by a foreign adversary, which regardless of what these people think, Russia is not, never will be our friend. They've talked about many years, many decades, that they would bring down America without firing one single shot. So what they're doing and what they've learned is they can use our racism against us, and they are sowing disinformation. They are pitting Americans against Americans, and it's working masterfully. And you have Republicans, bloggers, digital influencers, people in the Republican sphere, in their circle, if you will, being influenced by Vladimir Putin and his crew. Monetarily. The shoe is about to drop with some congressional Republicans as well. Ron Johnson and some of those folks, they will be outed very, very shortly, I believe. Although people who are in the know already know those guys are Russian sympathizers and they're Russian assets. They're Russian. Those guys are basically Russian. What purpose would American senators and congressional leaders, what would they be doing in Moscow on 4th of July of all days? Why? That's unbelievable to me.
Absolutely.
We still don't know why they were there. So what my point in saying all of this, if we don't have a country, man, what? You're not going to be able to use your racism anymore. But that does not seem to matter. As long as they can say they own the libs and they won, if you will, they're willing to burn it all down. That's all that's my perspective. That's the way that I see it. They'll burn it all down.
As long as they're in power. But one of the things that's so amazing about those people is this. If this idiotic, moronic baboon fool does get back into the White House, they're not going to have any power. He's going to centralize power at his death. He's going to minimize them. They won't be anything other than figureheads.
The Supreme Court might as well meet in one of their garages or something.
The Supreme Court might as well be a taco supreme.
Let me tell you what else. You're absolutely correct, Darnell. And another thing that's really shocking to me, and I don't know what else to say, man. It's really, really frightening, if you will. The media and the way they're playing this. This man is obviously demented. It's no question about it. He's demented. He has dementia. He didn't know who he's running against. He just blabbers on incoherently, and he calls it the weave. Man, if you don't stop it, that's not a weave. You're just blabbering. The dude said that he lost the election by a hair. This dude he said he had the right to interfere with the election. This dude is a walking terrorist embodied in a president and a presidential candidate right here in front of our very eyes, and people don't seem to care. And it's astounding to the media. Guys, if you don't cover this guy honestly and earnestly, you're not going to have a job. You're going to have to run everything that you report if he wins again through the White House. You're not going to be able to report independently anymore. They think this is a game or something, I guess.
The one thing that puzzles me when you're talking about the media that has just, and you're right about everything you're saying, but the one thing that really blows my mind that has happened as of recently, have you looked at Donald Trump's ear?
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
Supposedly
Darnell, supposedly they're opening up an investigation about that. Why, Darnell, as a narcissistic as Donald Trump is, why has he not spoken about more than he has? You know, they tried to kill me and off me, but I survived and this and that. He did that a couple of days. People started asking questions. He shut everything down, ordered people not to talk. How do we know more about this past school shooter last week? How do we know more about him than we know about the president of the United States, the former president of the United States, supposedly being shot at?
There isn't any gun, especially a long rifle.
A pellet gun would do more. Would do more. I know a pellet gun would. A pellet gun.
Any gun, especially a long rifle, that would nick your ear and not take a chunk out of there. I'm sorry. I don't believe in a lot of conspiracy theories. But I believe that there's something really, really crazy about that. And the fact that no one is not really digging into it, that we can see investigating that, just blows my mind. There's just no way. Something about that, and you and I talked about it on the very day that it happened. I'm not buying it. I mean,
It was absolutely, unequivocally, inarguably, undoubtedly staged. It was. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. There's no way that building would be where it is, where it would be from the location perspective, and not be checked. That's insane. The building was not directly in front of him, but a building out in the middle of nowhere. This was all staged. They don't want it to get back because some people got killed. See?
That's right. And you know, since the Kennedy assassination, the number one priority has always been secure the higher ground. Secure the higher ground. There's just something really wacky about this whole deal, man.
Well, let me ask you this, Darnell. Let's take it even further. How have we and with the quick, Darnell, this has happened really, really quickly. We have a little less than half of the country who wants to be a communist state with a dictator. 30% of the country are all in for it. This is just.
If it means, Carl, that you're going to keep the niggers.
That's right.
And wetbacks and the LGBTQ people.
That's right.
From getting theirs, we don't care what you do. We have moved to a place where there's about half of the country that's there.
It's true, sir.
What's so crazy about it, though, Mr. King, is that they don't realize if that stuff does come to fruition, they're not going to be part of it. They're going to be doing it too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You think
sure.
living in your trailer park in Choctaw, Oklahoma, that you're going to somehow be part of the 1%?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You have
no, you're absolutely correct, man. It's a real issue, Darnell. I just don't know. It's so unbelievable. But again, revert back to the conversation regarding the farmer in Iowa. That still, to me, when I even think about it, if I didn't see that for myself and hear it with my own ears, I wouldn't believe it. You're gonna tell me that your family generationally has had something that they owned, that fed, sustained over many, many years, sustained their family, and obviously had sustainability to move forward for the next 100 years. And you're willing to risk that, throw it all in because Donald Trump is not aware of tariffs and how they work. He's still trying to convince people that tariffs work in a way that they do not. It's
tariffs that simply means you're going to pay more.
Well, no, the other countries pay. Simple. That's not the way it works, Darnell.
No, it doesn't work that way. If you put a 10% on a $30,000 car, you're just paying $33,000 for it.
That's right. That's simple. That's right. And for whatever reason, that man, you saw it too, Darnell. Well, if it means I have to take one for the team, I'll do it. Now, you're talking about losing your money, your livelihood, and wiping out a keystone, if you will, for your family moving forward. When I saw that was the last straw for me in basically coming to the realization that this is something much bigger than anything that we've ever seen from a political standpoint. People don't care about Donald Trump or support him for his policies or his politics unless you're in the 1%. Nothing, absolutely nothing that he does benefits you. Now, what he does do is make you feel good about talking disrespectfully negatively, rudely to people that you don't like
Right.
and you think is an enemy to you and your people and your family. That's enough to sustain you, to sustain them collectively, because he does nothing for them and they don't care. He has no policies. The other day, when they asked him about child
I know
tax,
where you're going. Unbelievable.
when they asked him about child care, well, now, don't forget, Darnell, don't forget when he was debating Joe Biden, okay? In the very first debate, they asked him about the child tax credit. Okay? Dude, when they asked that question, they asked Joe first, right? I just burst out laughing. I said, there's absolutely no way that Donald Trump knows anything about this. He went all over the question. The moderators tried to come back like 3 times, and he fought through it. And I want to go and talk about something where he was just basically talking about how bad the country was and how we're a failing nation and all this. He has no clue about policy, none whatsoever. And no, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right.
It's always been vitriolic, you know.
Yeah, sure.
It has never been about anything other than grievance, and that's where we are now, you know.
Okay.
How many times have we said, "Man, it just amazes me," you know?
Stunning. It is. It's truly stunning, and it's unwavering, it's unyielding, and unending. These people, they have dug in, and there's nothing. This man documented factual information that is easily accessible. They just, another one of the things about him and his supporters that bother me personally to no end. You can be an expert, study something for 30 or 40 years, be an expert in your field, and they will just casually dismiss what you're saying like it's nothing.
Like you don't know what you're talking about. Exactly.
Yeah, and they didn't even go through the local VOTEC,
Right. And I think it goes down to what they're comfortable with. You know what I'm saying? They're comfortable with misinformation. They're comfortable with
True. That's just true. This is true.
Right. They're comfortable with what they believe. If I don't believe it, then I want to accept it. You know what
Cognitive
I'm saying?
dissonance. They always revert back to their level of comfortability. That's right.
And it goes. Remember early on in their administration, what did Kellyanne Conway say? Well, there's alternative facts. No, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as alternative facts.
No, it's not.
The fact that you say it's a fact means it's a fact. It doesn't mean that there's some alternative fact.
That's right.
It's unbelievable.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll be back this Wednesday. We're going to basically wrap up. We're going to go over, chop up all the latest and greatest, the haps, with the debate between Kamala Harris and one Donald J. Trump. So what is your prognostication, good sir? What do you think is going to happen, man, this Tuesday?
I think the debate will look like what we think it's going to look like. I think it'll be Kamala Harris, essentially putting down facts, and it'll be Donald Trump basically lying, trying to make her look bad. That's what I think. We'll get a chance to chop it up Wednesday and give our assessment of it. But that's kind of what I think. It'll just be more of the same.
Well, I'd just like you to know that I got a call from Brent Venables today. And I told him that you and I will be coming down this week and getting those boys lined up. And I also want to mention another football game that they cheated Langston the entire game last night, is what happened, ladies and gentlemen. They cheated. They cheated Langston. Langston Lions went to Edmond, Oklahoma, to play NCAA Division II. University of Central Oklahoma Broncos, and we got dismantled.
What was the final score?
I don't know, and I don't care, and we don't want to talk about the final score. I believe it was the last I checked, it was like 70-something to nothing, man.
70-something to nothing.
And we don't appreciate that. UCO, you and all you UCOians,
UCOians.
That's a UCOians, all of yous. Y'all better not be out nowhere. We don't better see y'all walking down the street. It's gonna be on site. That government, I'm telling you, it's gonna be on site. We're coming for you. We coming for you. It's gonna be some problems. It is. It's gonna be some shooting or something. On site. I mean it. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I ran that deep.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, man, listen, if you're a part of the Langston University family, it's much deeper than football. It is, man. Langston University is a way of life. Once you embark on greatness across the hill in the Langston, Oklahoma, you have entered another dimension, a space and time not measurable by man. That's pretty good, huh? That's pretty decent, huh? That's pretty good, wasn't it? All right. That's good. Okay, right on. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Open Mic Talk Show. For Darnell Swift, I'm Carl L. King II. This is O City FM HD. We are the people you know, the music you love. Real radio is back. Stay close. More music right on the way.